If you don't listen closely, you're gonna lose out on your next $20,000 raise. Now, only 20% of you actually ask for a raise in your lifetime. 20%. Even worse, 4% of you got a raise last year. So I've got $1,000 here. Out of that, that's 4%. I really don't like those odds for you guys. So before you consider asking for a raise, ask yourself, do I deserve the raise? And that really comes down to, am I driving significantly more revenue than I previously was? Or am I saving the company significantly more money than I previously was? All right, so if your answer isn't a resounding yes to both of those, then stop this video right now. I want you to go watch this video that I'm gonna link up here. I'll show you how to drive more revenue or save more money in the workplace so that you actually deserve the raise. The key here is, if you don't know how to drive more value, that's okay. Meet with your manager and determine how you're gonna drive more value and what those next steps are, step by step together. Make sure you're in charge of the time frame. So let's say the metric that they give you is revenue, which is probably the most likely one, and they want you to drive a certain amount of revenue over the next 6 months. You want to take that 6-month component out of the requirements. You want it to be, I'm gonna drive 100K in revenue, and when I hit that marker, now I'm going to get the $20,000 raise or whatever you've agreed to. You have to take out that time frame component if you really want to move fast and accelerate and be in charge of your destiny here. How many raises do you think you've given?
Hundreds. We always had a saying that I'm happy to pay you more money. You just have to make yourself more valuable. So in some way, like, what is that? Is it taking on a new project? Is it mentoring? Is it putting in just more time and driving that way? And sometimes it's like, hey, I'm sorry, you can't make those dollars here in your current role. If you want to take on a larger role, then we'll have flexibility there.
Let's make sure you don't squander that 20K raise. So let's go through step by step exactly what you need to do to ask for the raise. So step 1 is, let's make sure you're not off your rocker. You want to go look at some comparables in your industry, at your company even, if you can. Find out what people are making in similar roles to you. And that's going to be really important for whether or not you're even in the ballpark to begin with. Let's say you just saved hundreds of thousands of dollars for your company, or you launched a new revenue stream that's going like gangbusters, and you feel like you and your manager are aligned and it might be time to ask for the raise.
If they were direct, I would appreciate it. I want them to come to me. I want them to have a dialogue around it.
So here's how you actually do it. You're gonna write down 3 things that you have done over the last 6 months to a year that fall into this revenue generating or saving money category. So really think through, what are these major items that you have contributed, and write those down. So let's say you just brought on a new partner and it's been 8 months and they've generated $200,000 in revenue for the company, and that's a partner you personally brought in. Perfect. Write that down. That's going to be one of the things you go through with your manager. Another example could be you renegotiated your CRM software and you were able to save 50K over the last 6 months or a year. That's a huge deal that your manager will care about and want to know when considering whether or not to give you a raise. Another way you could come about it is, let's say you want to increase your cash flow through the business. Now, a lot of times people don't know about what the cash flow is like within a business, but let's say you're deep in operations and finance. You are able to get a better lead time on some of your products, which increases cash flow. Now, all of a sudden, you have created another way that you have really helped the business move forward. Typically, you want to be in cash generation, revenue generation, really, or saving the company money and dropping more to the bottom line. These 2 areas are going to make up the majority of how you can contribute to the company, and you want to make sure you have a list of the top 3 things that you've done over the last 6 months to a year, and be prepared to talk to your manager about those. If you're sitting there going, holy shit, I haven't done any of these things, that's okay. You just haven't driven demonstrable value in your role yet. And you're gonna wanna go watch the video I made about how to drive value in any role. Because there's really no point in asking for a raise if you haven't driven a lot of value. You're just gonna get kicked in the nuts. The other thing you're gonna wanna prepare for is bringing 3 things that you plan to do over the next 6 months to a year. Make a list of how you're gonna drive more revenue, save more money, and really drive value within the business. Remember to think big here. An example could be saving $40,000 on software costs because you consolidate some of the softwares in your department. Another thing, you could automate a role, like an admin type role that is gonna save you $60K a year. And again, revenue generation tends to be the one that is the most important. You could open up a new distribution channel that the company hasn't been in before, and that will allow you to bring in an additional $300K over the next year. These are gonna be estimates because they haven't happened yet, but it's critical that you show, hey, I've done some really cool shit and I'm gonna do even more. And that's why I deserve this raise. It's not just about the past, it's not just about the future. It has to be both in combination for you to be compelling when you're asking for that raise. I've had dozens of people ask me for raises over the years. And if they're not showing results that are really, really compelling, I'm not compelled to give them a raise. They might come to me and say, you know, I have automated 4 hours of work a month, and so therefore I deserve a raise. I mean, that's a lovely achievement, but it definitely doesn't warrant me paying them more. On the flip side, I've done tons of raises without being asked. You know, maybe someone launched a new marketing channel that is bringing in $70,000 of new business every month. Well, holy shit, they deserve a raise. That is very, very compelling. And they're more than paying for that raise that they're getting themselves. We're not looking for a little bit of extra efficiency here or there. We're looking for really driving major dollars to the bottom line and top line of your company.
Value is everything, and we're a business. It's not a charity, so we have to run profitably. And we got to a point as we matured as a company that we were confident enough internally to share metrics and to share profitability and to show revenue markers that we need to get to. And then we really tracked, we're a services business, so we were really able to track revenue per employee and effective hourly rates and things of that nature that they have for control over. And so they could drive that internally themselves. They could find ways to become more profitable. If somebody is too aggressive in their ask, or they feel that they're just entitled to it, they come in with an open understanding that this is a partnership and we really want this to be a long-term arrangement together, and they're willing to listen and not just say, hey, if I don't get this raise, I'm going to walk. It works out great. But if they come in and say, if I don't get a raise, I'm going to go find another job, then they're not the right fit to begin with, and it's just the wrong attitude we want. So I think their demeanor is everything.
If you want to hear the magic words, we are giving you a $20,000 raise. Congrats. Then it's time to sit down with your boss, walk through the accomplishments that you've had over the last 6 to 12 months, explain what you plan to do over the next same time period, 6 to 12 months, and then ask for the amount that you believe you deserve. It's important to listen closely to the feedback that they give you, and just know that most managers don't have the authority to give you a raise on the spot. But that's okay. They're going to give you next steps and feedback of, where you're at towards getting that raise. And that's the important thing to listen to. So note that down. Good luck. I know you can do it. All right, go watch my latest video to learn more about leveling up in the workplace.